Hello, welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. I'm Liz, and it's time for episode 90 of What's in My Tumbler. And first of all, update on my life. We got a puppy over the weekend. I will pay the puppy tax at the end of the video, and we are looking for a name for her. We can figure out what to name this puppy, so I'll talk more about her later. But first off, we're going to have Obsidian, and I did mention the puppy early because you will hear her whining in the background because she was not happy at not being the center of attention, and I wouldn't let her sleep on my feet while I was trying to do all of my rinsing. So, starting off with Obsidian, this particular batch is done this week, so we'll see how this turned out. And I have about 4 more pieces, I think, that I start in another barrel, so those should be done in a couple of weeks as well. And so we're going to get these rinsed off and then added back to the barrel, and then we're going to do a tablespoon of borax for burnish and get these rinsed off again. So adding in the water and the borax. So life with a new puppy is crazy. She's, I'll talk about her now because I don't have much else to fill in while I'm doing this. She's a Boxer Australian Shepherd mix. She is 7 weeks old. And currently whining in my office because she probably needs to go out. So, brief pause while I take care of that. Okay, puppy dealt with. So, she is 7 weeks old, very young, and we cannot come up with a name for her. The rescue called her Joan Jett. She was part of a rock and roll group, so we were thinking maybe going with a more alt-rock, heavy metal name for her. Or Momo's named after the flying lemur from Avatar, so maybe doing an anime reference. So if you have suggestions, like I said, I'll have pictures of her at the end of the video. So we are accepting name suggestions because we cannot come up with anything for now. So this Obsidian went through its burnish, and so now I am going to sort it out. Far right is... and kind of going into the bottom is just regular plain obsidian, and then the 2 pieces kind of top, middle are, there's a silver sheen and a gold sheen, and then there is the mahogany on the left. So I was trying to, I didn't realize that I was way off out of camera shot here, so I'm adjusting. So now I'm going to show you kind of what they look like. Again, all of this obsidian has turned out fantastic. I couldn't be happier. So we're going to get it all dried off. And that's a piece of the mahogany. And then that's the silver sheen piece. When I turn it over, that's kind of where the silver sheen part is. And then that's a piece of the regular, just black obsidian. And then I'm going to have some close-up video. And in the still shots, you'll see the gold sheen a lot better. It was hard to sort of show it because it's kind of subtle. But that's the black. And then that's the gold with the silver sheen behind it. And now the mahogany. And I have one more batch, but when I get to the new barrel section at the end, you'll see I just do another batch of the obsidian because it's the last of it. We can move on after this. So now, Walk in the Park. Walk in the Park is pigeon blood jasper and flower agate. I had a batch of this that was done last week. This is the remainder of that batch. So it was in stage 2. It had already gone all the way through stage 1. So all of this was ready for stage 2. Don't know why I cut that funny, but I'm going to do an inspection this week. What I'm doing here, if you're not familiar, I am looking to see if anything has chipped or broken or has sharp edges. I don't want anything like that going into the final stages because that's going to ruin the polish. If there's something sharp that's now scratching your rocks, it's not going to get a good finish. So that's what I'm doing here, is making sure that nothing in this batch has chipped or broken, There were a few little chippy pieces at the bottom. None of them were sharp or looked like they had come off recently. I think they were just part of the original tumble. So I took them out, but I'm not worried about them. So now we are going to do a tablespoon of ivory soap because this is going to go into a bath cycle to make sure I get all of the grit off. And I tumble these for a few hours. So this tumbled for probably about 6 or 8 hours just to make sure that I had everything nice and cleaned off. Some people will use borax for this step. I prefer ivory soap. It's something that I would just say, try it. And if you don't like it, you'll find something that you do like. There's drawbacks to ivory soap and borax. I've gone into it multiple times. I don't feel like doing it right now, the differences between the two, but they're cheap enough. Give them both a try, see if you like one more than the other. So that was the wash cycle, get all of the soap rinsed off. So now I'm going to put in a tablespoon of borax and roughly 3-ish tablespoons of stage 3 grit. That's probably about what was left in there, maybe a little more. So now I'm going to add in the water. And these are going to go on the tumbler for another week. And they will be going into stage 4 next week. So that's exciting that this batch will be getting done soon. So this is in stage 4 going into stage 4 next week, as well as the last batch of Obsidian. So I'll have 2 barrels done at the same time. Smokey and the Bandit. This is done this week. This is the rutilated quartz and Smokey quartz. I was very excited to see how the rutilated quartz turned out because it just looks really cool. It looks like pieces of glass with strands of gold in it. So some of it looks a little more gray than clear, but there was a nice variety in here. Now the Smokey quartz that I had in here is not as dark as Smokey quartz I've had in the past, but it was still pretty good quality Smokey quartz. So we're going to get this rinsed off. Again, this is going to get an ivory or a burnishing cycle because this is done with stage 4. So I burnish with borax after stage 4. And then I put borax in all of my stages as well. So this is going to go for its burnishing cycle. Again, a few hours. Some people will do overnight, multiple days. I just do a few hours. It keeps my filming schedule going where I want it. All right, getting this all rinsed off. You can see the water was a little bit dirty, but not too bad. I've had much worse. So getting the borax rinsed off of these rocks, make sure they're nice and clean. And then we are going to take it inside, well, not inside, but to my other filming location. I'm going to pull out the three or four pieces of Smokey quartz that were in here. And then, which is easy to pick out because they're the bigger pieces of quartz. And then just dump out the rest of the rutilated quartz because I wasn't going to pick that all out individually. I don't think you guys would have wanted to see me do that either. There are a lot of pieces in here. So now we're going to get these all dried off. They were very wet. I think it's just because there were so many pieces and they were all soaking wet. But we got them dried off and they looked really cool. So this is a piece of Smokey quartz, one of the larger pieces. And then this is a couple pieces of the rutilated quartz. You can kind of see the gold. That's the rutile that's in there. And then another piece of the rutilated quartz, just to show that gold strands that are in there. So now I'm going to do the final look. So there's a close-up video of everything so you can see all dried out. Well, mostly dried out. There was a little bit of water left on some of these, but for the most part, they were dry. And then that's the Smokey quartz. It does have some bruising. That's what those white marks are. I could retumble these if I wanted to. I don't know if it's worth it. But if you do see that, sometimes it's grit stuck in there, sometimes it's bruising. And then this is the rutilated quartz. All right, finally, Purple People Eater. This is blue and red tiger's eye. These are in stage 2 going into stage 3. Yes, because I started, this is a new batch from last week. This was leftover from last week, or leftovers. So this is, no, this is 3 going into 4. Yeah, so this is stage 3 going into stage 4 of the purple people eater. So I'm going to do an inspection. Again, checking to make sure nothing has chipped or broken while in the tumbler. It doesn't happen terribly often, but it does happen sometimes. So you should check every time you change your tumblers over after stage 1. But I don't always. I frequently forget or just don't feel like doing it because it can be a little bit of a pain. I'm not worried about the state of the gravel. That's filler, and it's stable enough. I'm not worried about it chipping or breaking. So now we're going to go ahead and put some water in, and then a tablespoon of borax, or sorry, that's the ivory soap, because this is going to go for a soap cycle. All right, now done with the soap cycle. Pretty dirty in there, but it'll be all right. Get these all rinsed off, and then these are going to go into stage 4 for a week. So these will be done next week. Still trying to figure out. I think I have more Tiger's Eye, so I'll probably do another batch of the purple people eater. But I think next time I have an actual free barrel and not tumbling massive amounts of the same rocks over and over, that I'm gonna do the next Fossick. I did not start the Fossick rocks this week, but I think I will next week or the week after. All right, so that was a tablespoon of borax, 3 tablespoons of stage 4 polish, and then these are going to go on the tumbler for a week, and they will be done next week. I'll have to check and see. I think I have more of this that needs to be tumbled through. It's been through stage 1, so it'll start in stage 2. All right, now I have 2 new barrels, technically really just 1, but they were both empty, so I decided to do them at the same time. So I'm going to put in some cushioning. That's the last of my Obsidian, and then top that up. Could be more full. Couldn't be bothered to care right now. I'm kind of sick of tumbling Obsidian, but we'll get this done, and then we can move on. So that is in the top barrel. That, I thought when I recorded this that this was opal. It's actually moonstone. So the name on this batch is going to be misleading. I actually didn't look up what it was till after I had filmed this. So this is green serpentine. Now, green serpentine can vary in hardness. Serpentine can vary in hardness. This, when I bought it, said it was a 6, that this particular kind is a 6. I got this from Miko's Mine. And the moonstone is also like a 5.5, 6. So these should be fine tumbling together. And if they're not, I don't really care. So the top got a tablespoon of borax and a tablespoon of stage 3. And then the bottom got a tablespoon of borax and 3 tablespoons of stage 1. Because we're starting those from scratch. But the Obsidian starts at stage 2, so it's all been stage 3. It was really hard to put that lid on for some reason. I don't know why it didn't want to go in. So the Obsidian batch is just still going to be called Obsidian. It's just going to get set back into stage 3. And then the bottom one, remember I said that I thought that was opal, but it's actually moonstone. So I called this batch, and I'm going to keep this name. I'm not changing it. Couldn't be bothered. But I'm calling this Opal Serpent. Not particularly creative, but it'll do for now. And then this is stage 1. So now for the puppy tax. This is our new little girl. Boxer Australian Shepherd. She's 7 weeks old and desperately needs a name. So if you have any suggestions, we would be happy to hear them. We're drawing up blanks. All right, thank you for watching. I will be back next week, and hope you guys all have a good week.